All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are ready to rock and roll tonight. Super glad to be here. I'm Jed. If you are here, so glad that you're with us, and thankful for Peter's work this today, just getting a bunch of stuff set up a little bit differently, a little bit better. And man, I don't know, how are you guys doing? I'm doing pretty well. I am a little bit tired. Today went a little bit like all over the map, like thinking about so many different things, trying to get a bunch of stuff done, but super pumped to be here. How are you though? I'd love to hear how you're doing. And excited to paint this painting this evening. It's gonna be fun. So Dorina, I hope you're here. I hope that we get to interact with you a little bit and hear a little bit more about this scene. Like I mentioned a couple days ago in something else, Dorina sent me about 3-4 pictures to kind of choose from to paint, but I chose this one because it was the first one that she had attached, I believe, and it was also something that, because she had painted telephone poles in another painting or two that she'd put on our Acrylic University site and kind of talked about. And so I was thinking, like, these are kind of like close to her house, and I thought I just love the lighting in this scene, and so I think it's gonna be pretty fun to paint. And I'm gonna change it just slightly. I'm gonna move the telephone poles forward just a little bit, but other than that, I'm gonna kind of basically keep the feel that's going on with the long cast shadows and the warm sunlight, and so we'll see how that goes. So let me
we got Dorina here, we got Todd,
all right,
Valerie,
awesome,
Leora, Suzanne.
so great. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to this other video here so we can see this canvas, and Peter's gonna switch the view here so that you guys can see also the reference photo in more clarity, which is gonna be great. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like bring up the telephone poles and make them a little bit bigger. That's the main thing that I'm gonna do, just so that they go a little higher here at the, kind of like this one will be the tallest one, and then there's going to be one here, and then they'll get increasingly smaller as they go back. And I'll just kind of, probably increase all of them a little bit, but try to keep the basic design of it. So I'm going to use a pencil here because I have it here available. I don't always use a pencil like this, but because I'm going to be doing a couple changes, this will give me the option of making a change after I draw it on. So I never heard actually how people were doing. Never heard how your day was, what your week was like. I was funny because we were sitting here at dinner just a minute ago, and we were like, Renee had just got, we had the Acrylic University showcase a couple weeks ago where we had like students put their paintings in for a show, and then the winners actually got or at least a couple of the winners. There were several different prizes, but a couple of the winners got these paintings of mine. Kind of whether they wanted it or not, we're like, nope, you're taking it. I'm just joking. But Trish in Vancouver, where we used to live in Vancouver, she sent a picture. She just received her painting, and she sent a picture of it, her holding it up outside her house, and it was really nice. And Renee said, man, wouldn't it be cool to, like, wouldn't it be kind of fun to go up to Vancouver and visit Trish and see her in the house, or like visit her up there, like, blah, 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 whatever. Just, and I was like, yeah, that'd be super fun. And then I was like, in fact, it'd be really fun to go see anybody. And I started thinking like about all the things that I'd like to do. I was like, man, the county dump, you know, the transfer station, man, what a place, man. Wouldn't it be fun to go to the county dump today? You know, like just like anything, get out and do something would be so fun right now. But it would be really fun to go up and see Trish in Vancouver. That'd be a super big blast. Like, I hope that when this coronavirus is a little bit more under control, that we can have some kind of acrylic university get-togethers where we can meet up, we can see each other, that kind of thing, because it's going to be fun. Okay, so I'm going to start doing a bit of the drawing on, and I'm going to put some of this on with a bit of darker paint, darker color, kind of get some of it in place this way, make some marks. I actually want to move this over just a tad, like right here.
Allison says, got my wine ready to go.
All right, Allison. Yay.
Suzanne says, I really need this distraction. Todd Gardner, doing well, enjoying my Italian boat painting, just received today, drinking a cappuccino.
Oh, awesome. That was fun, Todd. I got to say that I actually did a fair amount of work on it after the thing last time, because I kept looking at it. I was like, man, I think that I could add a little bit more color to this, or the boat was actually kind of tricky. And I like when I paint like this, I don't always I'm not looking straight down at the canvas. I'm kind of looking at it a little bit from an angle, and I don't know if that was why, but after I set it down and I was looking straight on at it, I realized like, oh, I'd kind of like, I'm just erasing that, guys. I don't know if you knew that you could erase acrylic paint, but you sure can. But I'm gonna push it over even further because I want to have a little bit more of a gap here. There's a little bit of a nice gap, and I'm gonna keep that. And then I'll tighten these ones up a little bit more over here. So, because they kind of have a bit more of like a diminishing size and stuff over here. Okay, so it'll be a little bit more.
Hello, this is Joe having dinner while watching Italian food. And
oh, awesome.
Elizabeth Bragg says, my day, yes, pretty much the whole day was spent on the first atmosphere lesson, and that thing was such a challenge.
Oh, really? The first atmosphere lesson was the Michael O'Toole copy. Yeah, that has some tricky parts to it, doesn't it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, super awesome. Super awesome. Okay, so we've got basically a painting that's got like quite a bit of warmth in the foreground. So I'm gonna like let this these telephone poles eventually, hopefully they'll be really nice and warm. But I'm not gonna talk about art. Sheesh, that's boring. Let's talk about real stuff. No. So we got how many people are like, let's see, what's a good question? Here's a good question. Okay, this is a question I asked to a group of people that were there. We had a painting class in my studio, and I asked them this exact question, and I had like a bunch of people say, well, not a bunch of people. I had one person who refused to answer the question. And so, but the question was, would you rather die by being eaten by a shark or would you rather die by like heat exhaustion in the desert? Which would be the one that you would choose out of those two? Now, if that's too offensive for you, I understand. You do not have to answer that, but I am curious to see if there's anybody like who would answer that question. And I know it's a little bit morbid, but you have to understand that I worked with high school kids for quite a while. And I haven't done very much on this painting, so don't worry about that. I mean, I'm just working my way, but I worked with high school kids, and so we always had to come up with stuff that was, like, how do you get a high school kid to interact with you? Like a lot of times you try stuff and there would just be, it's like you ask a question and there's just silence, right? Or what I realized they said is that if you want a kid to be excited about doing something or to actually even do anything, you just have to overdo your excitement by like 100 times. Like you have to be so excited about it that maybe they'll get excited about it. And it's just that kind of thing. So we would come up with these really crazy questions and stuff like that to talk with them about. So that's where it comes from.
Todd says shark, it would be quicker. Dorina says shark, it's quicker. So we got 2 shark.
I'm with you. I've heard that dying of heat exhaustion is actually like maybe the worst way to die.
Yeah, I'd take the shark. Joe says heat exhaustion, may get some hallucinations out of it.
The one that I really want to die, if I was choosing like harsh elements or something like that, I think, well, sheesh, I don't know. It would be like dying in a snowstorm, like of cold. At least at the end you just fall asleep. Yeah. It's like, it's just like, okay. I mean, everything else leading up to when you fall asleep would probably be really not fun, but at least you kind of fall asleep at the very end.
Yeah.
Like heat exhaustion, I think, is just like being burned, from the inside out, and that doesn't sound fun to me. So
Nancy says shark because I love the water, so at least one part would be enjoyable.
yeah, at least you're in the water. Unless it was the Sharknado. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember seeing that, the spoof movie or whatever, like where it was a bunch of sharks flying around in a tornado. Oh my goodness, man. Stuff that people do for entertainment. I mean, I've even heard of people watching some dude who doesn't really know what he's doing paint before. Just joking. You're like, what? You don't know what you're doing? Man, I've been pretty good at fooling people, haven't I? I think that the thing is, like, when you don't know what you're doing, you just act stronger. Like, pretend more. Be more bold and decisive, and just be like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing with this painting, but I'm gonna get my big brush out. I'm gonna start slapping paint around like I really do know what I'm doing. The minute that you get all indecisive about stuff, that's when things don't go well.
Yeah, don't they say like the secret to confidence is act like you've been there before or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Elizabeth says, I'm now realizing I need some of your brushes. I think part of my struggle is the inability to get such fine lines with a wide brush.
Yeah, I was not a big brush fan. Like for a long time, I didn't really have a favorite brush, and I didn't really think that my brushes mattered that much. I had all really cheap brushes that I just got from Michaels, and not to say that all the brushes at Michaels are cheap, but the ones that I was buying were really just the basic, like you get 10 in a pack, and they were kind of okay in some ways because they had a soft tip and stuff like that, and it was okay. But man, honestly, it wasn't really until I got these brushes that I really thought. I mean, the ones before these, the Princeton ones, were really good too. But these ones took it up to a different level, and I just felt like, man, yeah, these kind of have changed it for me, and it's hard for me now to go back to other brushes because I do see the difference. So yeah, I can understand that. Now, did you say who said that?
Elizabeth.
Okay, so Elizabeth, I have a question for you. I don't know if your name is Elizabeth, because I feel like I've seen your name be Ella, but maybe it's somebody else that I'm getting confused with you. So do you go by Elizabeth or do you go by Ella? That's my question. And there's a really cool shadow here, right? And I'm trying to vary the colors in here a little bit. Because in the picture it's very warm, and that's why I chose this warm background. This is basically just I should have said this at the beginning, but it's kind of a warm burnt sienna kind of background.
Elizabeth says yes, sir.
Ella.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Both, she says.
Both, okay. Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. So if I say Ella, I won't feel bad for saying it. Every once in a while, I just forget a name, and then that's actually pretty common with me. I have a pretty bad memory. What do you think about the music tonight? Peter picked out some music for us. He's got some stuff going on. Whoa, I heard my voice.
Todd says groovy.
Groovy, yeah.
That's one way to put it.
That's one way to put it. Oh man.
Joe says soothing. There we go.
Okay, nice.
It is groovy though. I like that.
Yeah, I only heard a bit of it, but it sounded like it's like lo-fi, right? Isn't it that what it's called or something?
Yep.
It's like the beats that you do work to. You get stuff done like we're doing tonight. All this together. So we're getting a bit of this sunlight here. Now, Peter just walked away, so you're probably gonna have to wait a second, Dorina, but I do want to hear some of your thoughts on like this, like where is this, like how is it special to you, that kind of thing. So I just asked Dorina to answer the question of why this
painting is special.
Yeah, why this is special.
Cool.
So Peter's back, and you can answer that anytime.
I'm just posting the live stream to your Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Diana Greenman says it's date night music. I can totally see that.
That's funny. Okay, so
Then Todd says, great, just lacking a date.
oh yeah. Funny. Is Dorina gonna tell us anything about this? That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, she just said, this is right outside my childhood home. I used to watch the sunrise behind these poles.
Okay, cool. So not where you live now, but your childhood home. Very cool. Very cool. Man. Sun rising, and this is not the sunrise though. This is a sunset, I believe. Because I think that Dorina sent a couple pictures of this scene, and some of the scene is like a few minutes later, and I mean another of the pictures, and so it's interesting. You can see the sunlight going away really fast and changing the feel of it quite a bit. But so what I really like about this is that you get this really great sense of really warm stuff down here at the like the bottom, the foreground, and then as it goes up, it gets more it just gets more varied, and the sky is cool, way cooler in comparison, but it also still has a lot of really neat reflected light, and it's still pretty warm. Like it's still got areas that are warm, but it provides this great contrast because it is still much cooler and more grayish and blue-gray. So kind of working my way up that direction, but not before I get some more of these colors down here that are all the really warm things in. So our cat's doing pretty well. Today, I don't know if you saw my Instagram story, but he's been liking to climb up. You know, we got a little kitten, and the kitten is only 10 weeks old, and but super fun little kitten, like really personable. He's kind of really chill, like really laid back, kind of like this music, and he basically will kind of hang out with anybody. He's not afraid. Like Willow will jump on the couch next to him and kind of like make him bounce around, and he hardly even he doesn't jump and run away or anything like that. He just kind of shakes his head and is like, whatever, you know. But he also likes to climb on stuff, and he's been climbing on me recently. He's found that I'll be standing somewhere and he'll just grab my pant legs and he'll start climbing up. And it's pretty funny, you know, because he'll work his way up, and I usually kind of like put my hands around him, but I let him keep climbing as he gets like closer like to my body. For one thing, I don't want him to like totally rip his claws into me, but I also don't want him to fall in case he, you know, loses his grip a little bit. But he'll work his way all the way up to my shoulders, and then he'll kind of sit on my shoulders, and he like today he started eating my my necklaces. I've got, you know, these necklaces that I wear, and he's up there and he's just like mowing down, like chewing on these necklaces. It's pretty funny. He's quite the character, man. But he's doing well. I'm happy to report. We're really loving having this little kitten in our lives. I actually was jealous last night because he was kind of sleeping on the couch last night. And we've had him for 5 nights, and the first I think the first 4 nights, he ended up kind of making noises and wanting to sleep on our bed. Like at night, you know, he was just kind of like, you know, I didn't know where he'd want to sleep, but he ended up sleeping on our bed. And then sometimes like Willow will like run into our bedroom in the morning or just like the wee hours of the morning or something, and she'll come in and then she'll kind of like cuddle with him while she's lying in bed. So she ran in like 4 o'clock this morning, and she goes, where's the kitten? And I said, I don't know, I think he's on the couch still. And I went out, or she went out, and she was looking for the cat, and he wasn't there. She came back, she said, I don't know where he is, I don't know. And so I went out because she was all worried about the kitten, and I noticed that Peter's door was open just a little bit, just a crack, and I knew the cat was in there. And I was telling Peter this morning, I said, I had this twinge of jealousy when I looked, you know, I saw the cat was in there with him. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to go in and grab the cat. I decided that I had to lure the cat out. And so I grabbed my headphones and I started making noises with my headphones and like trying to like go. I was basically fishing for the cat. And eventually he saw my headphones, wiggling around on the floor, and it was too much for him to resist. And he hopped down and came, and then I was happy to bring him into Willow. But it's pretty funny how we all love the cat like quite a bit, and he's such a good cat. Like he loves all of us back. It's so awesome. We really got the reason we got a cat was because Willow. Like we wanted to have, Willow hasn't had a pet since we lived in Indiana, and we had this little tiny guinea pig when we lived there. And but guinea pigs, well, I mean, the guinea pig wasn't a problem, but they're not super affectionate, and we didn't keep the guinea pig when we moved. We gave her to another little friend because we didn't know where we were gonna live and everything like that. So we left the guinea pig with a friend there in Indianapolis that we knew would take care of the guinea pig and everything. But when we came here, we didn't have a pet or anything. And now with the coronavirus and everything, Willow's got a lot of time at home, and we're trying to figure out, man, wouldn't it be cool if she could have, like a friend, like a pet friend? And so that was where it kind of came from. And we were thinking through the different kinds of animals. And that's when we decided, okay, like maybe a cat would be the best kind of animal, because it's pretty low upkeep, like not quite as much work as a dog, but way more affectionate than a rabbit, for instance, or something like that, like a guinea pig, or some little creature. And also I have a little bit of a fear of little creatures like getting lost in the house and like ending up like underneath something or behind something or anywhere. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe we can get something that's bigger that I won't lose. So that was where that came from. And when we got the cat though, my thought is, man, it would be a real bummer if we all liked the cat, but the cat wasn't that friendly, or maybe for some reason like the cat doesn't like Willow that much or something. And so I've been really, really, really happy that the cat actually really loves Willow, and they have a really fun, good relationship. Okay, I'm gonna start doing some stuff up here in the sky. Do any of you have pets? And what is your pet? If you don't have a pet now, what is a pet that you've had in the past that you loved?
Oh, Laura Azeltine, finally. I haven't been able to say hi. Hi, Jen, Renee, and Peter.
Oh, hey, Laura. Awesome.
Good to see you.
I know Laura has a pet. I know Laura's pet. Maji. A golden or a yellow lab. Or no, a labradoodle? Wait, I'm confused. I don't know what it is. He's a cool dog, that's all I know. What about anybody else? So now I'm gonna start doing this negative painting again here. It's gonna be a lot of this in this painting, because really, I mean, we could do this other ways. Like we could tape off, and actually maybe it would be a good idea if you didn't want to do this the slow way. You could tape off these, and you could do it that way. But I'm gonna just keep going like this because I'm used to it, and I think it'll be okay in the end.
E. Hall says I have 2 golden doodles. Laura says an English retriever. Joe says a cat that I trained. He does high five.
Oh, nice.
Cat, I had fish, but when I moved out, my parents accidentally killed them.
Oh no.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And then Allison Burr says, I have 2 tabby cats that are my studio cats. They're brothers and love visiting me. We also have Mama, our found on the side of the road adopted dog.
Oh wow. That's cool. Yeah, I remember seeing your cats, Allison, in your picture.
Yeah.
That you sent a long time ago. I think you showed us when we were talking about our studios or something like that. I think I remember seeing those because you called them your studio cats back then. That's what reminded me.
Colleen says a Pomeranian named Diesel, 10 mixed Dashan, I forget how you say that.
Okay.
And mini pincher named Pippa, 6, and a rotten cat named Licky Lips.
Wow.
She just put a big hole in the 7 foot by 2 foot canvas. Yeah, not happy.
Oh my goodness. 7 foot by 2 foot canvas? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's ginormous.
I know. Then Valerie says, I have 6 Burmese mountain dogs, 2 horses, and hundreds of steers.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
So that's a real farm. Hundreds of steers.
Yeah.
Maybe that's called a ranch, not a farm. At what point does a farm become a ranch? I can't remember. I think it's somebody, I remember talking with somebody and they were like, they kind of said something to me about when, but I can't remember. That's starting to sound like a ranch to me.
Yeah. Todd says we had a black lab and a gray and black striped cat when my daughters were growing up. Now I have a plant.
Yeah, plants can stay at home longer when you're away.
Laura says life without pets would be so quiet and lonely for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you, Laura. I've always wanted a pet. So
that's why we're liking this cat so much. I think none of us have had a pet really for so long.
yeah.
I grew up with cats and dogs and all different kinds of animals and really loved I mean, I shouldn't say different kinds, only cats and dogs, but we had several different cats, like several different dogs over the years, and then when we got married, we lived in the city for so long that I kind of felt like it'd be hard to take care of a dog. I mean, I usually would just think about dogs. And I just remember thinking like it'd be pretty tricky to take care of them and then like make sure you figure out how to, I mean just like taking them for walks and making sure they go to the bathroom outside and picking up their poop and all that kind of stuff all the time felt really overwhelming to me. So we never had a pet, but now we live in a little different situation and it's a little bit easier to think about having a pet, so it's really fun for us.
Dorina says farms are more about growing and harvesting, ranches, cattle, and or horses. And Valerie says ranchers, strictly livestock, no crops other than pasture and hay. And Laura adds with real cowboys.
Okay. Thanks for that, everybody. See, this is why, I've always relied on other people to be smart, not myself. If I can just keep people to stay around me long enough, if I don't annoy them too fast, that I can ask good questions, and then I might be able to learn stuff. That's kind of the way that I've lived my life.
Joe says, Peter, do you have pets? No, I don't have pets personally. When I was growing up, my parents never really liked cats or dogs just because of the mess, like the hair and all that kind of stuff everywhere. So I never had one growing up. So this little kitten is pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're all loving the little cat. It's fun.
Always wanted one though. I'm gonna buy a shepherd puppy eventually.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys saw, but on the bottom of the page there is a number that you can text, and that will give me your phone number, and I'll be able to keep you up to date with this type of thing, because what I've realized is that there's a lot of different ways of communication, and some are like really indirect and some are more direct, and I'm realizing that the more direct communication that I can have is better, because I feel like there's just different times when we just like lose contact, like people are texting us or emailing saying, when are you doing this, or I missed it, because I didn't see the notification. And it's like, well, we sent a bunch of notifications, but they all went to your spam, or, you know, we put it in the community, but you didn't see it because you didn't go in the community, you weren't on Facebook or something like that, so you missed out on this thing that we did. And so we're trying to see if we can get everybody, basically everybody who wants to be, you know, on it, into this, into my texting kind of thing, so that we can really just have another really good method of reaching out to people and letting people know. So if you have not, I really would love it if you would, if you obviously this only will work really for people in the United States or in Canada. It doesn't work, I mean, hopefully someday we'll be able to do it with more countries than that, but right now it's just limited to the United States and Canada. But if you would text me hello at that number 425-800-8010, it will really it'll really help us try to keep these kind of lanes of communication open, and let you know when things are happening. Like, for instance, next week I'm going to be trying to through Instagram, like, this is a little heads up for you guys because you're here, and I want you to be part of this. I'm going to give away. I'm going to start, because we're doing the giving challenge this next week. We're going to be doing this, starting this giving challenge, and I was like thinking about it, and I'm always like looking to grow what I'm doing too. Like, I want to be more. I feel like what we do is really cool. I feel like I want more people to know about what we do, and I want to figure out ways that I can help other people learn how to paint better, and I want to encourage other people in their creativity and all this kind of stuff. And so I thought, man, you know what I think I want to do is I want to do a giveaway on Instagram, and I want to really try to engage people, and I want to see what we can do there. And so we're gonna do a 7-day in a row painting giveaway. That means I'm gonna give away 7 different paintings. They're already done. Well, the ones that I'm gonna give away are already done, because I didn't want to have to rely on paintings that I was gonna do it in the challenge. But they're gonna be given away to people who respond to this text platform and are part of my Instagram, or, you know, actually it's mostly going to be through the platform, but it would be beneficial for you to be on the Instagram thing too, because you won't know what's going on unless you see it somewhere. And so you have to know, like, the keyword to type in, just like you're typing in today. I asked you to put in hello. Well, we're going to have different keywords for you to put in to differentiate the day and the painting and stuff like that. And I don't know what those are yet because we haven't figured them out yet. But that's going to start Monday. And I'm just letting you know now, because it's going to be like a really cool thing. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And I'm hoping that you guys will participate and you'll help like promote it and make it a really, really cool thing.
Suzanne says, what exactly is the brush you were using?
I've got a number 10 in my hand right now, this bigger one. This small one is a 4, and these are all flats, except for this smallest one I have in my hand is a number 2 round. But I'm not actually using it. I was just holding it. So I have 2 number 4s and a number 10, and then this is a number 6.
Yeah. And they're Princeton Catalyst Polytip brushes.
Oh yeah, thanks. That was good. Princeton Catalyst Polytip brushes. That's right. See, Peter really knows his stuff, man. He's been around, and he's no slouch in this painting thing. That's pretty awesome. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Peter. He just walked out, so he's not listening to me right now, but You guys know how much work, man. I can't even begin to describe. You guys may or may not know how much work goes into what we do, but it's a lot of work. It's absolutely a lot of work, and we love it, but it's still a lot of work. And I can't even imagine doing what we do without, first of all, without Renee. Renee is like the most incredible person in the world. And also without Peter. Peter is just this awesome guy. So you know what would be really cool right now is if you guys said some really awesome stuff about Peter, but we didn't tell him. Just like say some things like, he's a cool guy. Hey dude, what's up, man?
Not much.
Cool. Yeah, so anyways, I don't remember what I was talking about. So I'm just working my way up, and I'm imagining, you know, where this, I'm looking and I'm seeing like where this tree goes, and there's so many cool colors, and this is where it's going to be really fun, is I'm going to start bringing in more variation in the color as it goes, and really working my way around. You know, you can see I just added a little bit more of this quinacridone red, and really it doesn't matter what you have. If you have a white, yellow, red, blue, black, and I've got cadmium orange here, and I've got a gray, but if you have the essential primary colors, like you can be doing all of this and it will look slightly different, but really it doesn't matter. The main thing is mixing the values and kind of like seeing how your colors that you do have work together.
Thanks, Laura. I appreciate it. Do you paint? No, I don't, but I've been saying that, well, for one, I want to. I've done a bunch of like charcoal drawings with charcoal pencils, and I really like that. And I filmed and edited so much painting content with Jed at this point that I'm like, it would be a crime if I didn't start painting, you know? So definitely one day I would love to start painting.
Peter was like, he knows all the stuff because he's seen more. He's watched the videos more than anybody else because he's had to watch them and then like edit them.
Welcome, Linda. Glad to be a part of it.
So I'm gonna keep varying this. I want to get some of this upper area is going to be a little bit, have some darker blues in it, and some of this over here has got some different blues and different stuff. So this is where, you know, it's really going to be fun. And I'm going to come back in here probably to that tree. I'm waiting right now because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do in terms of the values and stuff, but I'm probably going to make that look a little bit lighter. That's what I'm guessing right now, but it's going to take me a minute to figure out if that's actually what needs to happen or not. And then there's these warm clouds, like this is where some of that warmth is really showing through up here. So I'm gonna just put some of this warmer color up there and maybe transition it towards a little bit pink. So there's like a nice warmer undertone. And then over here, it's gonna get a little bit darker, and I'm gonna make it a little bit more blue. And well, actually, I see still a fair amount of the, it's kind of like a, it's got a, I don't know, it's a little bit of a grayish bluish color, but I want to kind of make it feel a little different. So that's why I'm bringing in some more of this darker color here. And then what I'm gonna try to do here real quick is I'm gonna try to come back and scratch out some of these lines, because I think that I can do it, and I think it'll look kind of cool.
Oh yeah, Laura just informed us that Blick is having a sale on Princeton brushes right now.
Oh really?
Princeton Catalyst Polytip brushes, yeah.
Oh, good to know. Thanks for the word, Laura.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So scratching it out like that is quite a bit, I mean, it can be an easier way to get those lines in there than if I was trying to cut every one of them out, as I say. I call it cutting, which is what I'm kind of doing around these poles. And it's reasonable to do around larger objects, but sometimes if you have bigger objects, it can be quite tedious. And so figuring out tricks like this can be quite helpful. So Princeton Catalyst brushes are on sale right now at Blick. Now, one thing, guys, I don't know if this is totally true because I haven't tested myself, but I heard from an artist friend the other night that she was saying that a lot of the supplies are running low at these places. Like she has a list for one of her classes that she teaches, and she said that like 50% of the supplies were gone off her list. They were like unavailable at this point because of I mean, I think it's because so many people are painting, but also because so many like manufacturers can't be producing stuff right now. And so anyways, it just started making me think, man, if you've got something that you are running kind of short on, it might be a good time to say, you know, let's just go get a little bit right now, because even though I have a little bit left, you know, like if you don't know if it's going to be there when you're actually run out in like 2 weeks or something, maybe you just try to get a little bit right now. I think I'm going to do that too, because I don't know what I need. I need to kind of take a look around and see if there's anything that I'm lacking right now. But if I figure out some stuff that I'm kind of getting low on, I'm going to definitely look at that. I mean, hopefully stuff gets back to a little bit like where people are making paint supplies and stuff, but I don't know. Who knows? It might take a little longer to get restocked in those stores than we would imagine. I really, really love this sky Dorina. I mean, I just think that this is such a cool scene here, and the sky is beautiful. That's why I think part of why I wanted to do this painting also was because of the sky, and because of, I don't always paint big skies. A lot of times my scenes, if you ever notice, it's because I learn from people and then I kind of like do what they did. So that first guy that I studied under, if you remember his name, is Mike Svaab. Great artist, still alive, wonderful guy. But I remember looking at his paintings once, and like if you look at somebody's paintings a ton, you start to see things. And one of the things I noticed was that he hardly ever painted big skies, like almost never. His paintings were almost always large areas of the ground, like the horizon line, instead of the horizon line being here, the horizon line would be up here, and there'd be a lot of stuff down here, and then you just see like a little bit of sky up at the top, something like that. And so I started thinking, oh, that's interesting. Like I used to paint a lot of bigger skies, but now I started thinking, oh, maybe I can do something a little different, a little bit more like what he's doing, because I like it so much. And so I started doing that like 20 years ago or whatever, and I liked it, and so I've kept doing it for a long time. And it's fun. I like the way that I paint and everything like that. But every once in a while, you see a sky like this and you think, oh, that'd be kind of fun to paint. So that's kind of what this is like for me right now. Getting in, painting bigger sky, just having a lot of fun with it. And we might end up, like when you start using different colors, like this sky has quite a few different colors going on, and it's got a little bit of like it would be easy to make this look really disorganized and not work together, because I'm cutting around every one of these telephone poles and everything like that, and so I have to be kind of careful that when I come together, like, so for instance, like right here, I'm talking about this kind of thing. Like I have to make sure that these colors work together. I have to make sure that it doesn't look like 4 different skies in one sky, but that it's one unified sky, and it all kind of makes sense. So some of that, I'm trying to do right now, but also I'm aware that until I get all of it in, I'm gonna just keep adjusting things, and I'm gonna come back to this in a little bit, and I'm gonna look at everything together and see where does it need to be changed.
Colleen is asking why you cut around the poles instead of paint the sky and then paint the poles over the top.
That's a very good question, because I like to do things the hard way, Colleen. I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing. Honestly, it's habit partly. I've always, since early days of painting for me, I've kind of been painting this way, where I paint the foreground and then I paint the background, and so it's kind of like habit. And part of it is also, I like the way it looks. I like the way that if I do it this way, it looks different than if I paint the telephone poles on top. And I feel like it, it's my opinion that normally it looks better. Part of that could be that I haven't developed the skill to put it on top and maintain a soft edge or make it look nuanced enough. So it could be mostly user error on my part, but it's just like the way that I've kind of seen it and thought, I think that this looks better. Like I say though, I don't always do things the easiest way, and I don't always recommend the way that I do things for everybody, because it would be easier for sure to go the other way. So
Trish says it's a Dorsey trademark.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just funny though. We get in these habits and we just do things. And like honestly, sometimes it's been when I'm teaching. Like for instance, if I was teaching this, we used to have a thing called Coffee and Canvas back in the good old days when we could see people. We would have a thing called Coffee and Canvas, and it was fun, you know, have people into our studio, and it's kind of like a real easy beginner painting class, essentially. Just we would paint the same thing, and we would, you know, I just kind of walk my way through a painting, and it was in those kind of classes where people would come who really had never painted before sometimes. And I realized that I couldn't just do things my normal way all the time. I had to really think, what would be the easiest way to explain this? What would be the easiest way to walk through this painting? And honestly, if this was one of those classes, I learned the hard way from doing a painting just like it was pretty similar. I had telephone poles, and I remember afterwards just thinking, that was the dumbest thing in the world. Why did I not change that around and paint the sky first? It would have been 1,000 times easier. So the next week we were doing the exact same painting. I changed it around, and it was a much different experience for most of the people that were there. Like they enjoyed it a lot more, and it was easier. And so if this was a more specific class, and I knew there were more people who were, you know, maybe less experienced or, you know, weren't familiar with me or something like that, I would definitely like think about this. I think about these sessions a little bit more like, hey, let's paint together. I'm not necessarily always explaining what I'm doing. I look at it a little bit different than a lesson, because I'm not trying so hard to teach. But that's a very good question, and I think that if I was more in the teaching mode, I would probably do it like you're saying. I would probably change it up, and I'd probably try to make it as easy as possible to follow. Maybe next time I'll do it that way.
Allison says, I'm trying to learn something different. I've always painted back to front. This makes me think about things differently, which is a good thing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I feel like for me, painting back to front would be easier. It makes more sense to my brain.
Yeah, I think most people, like, so some of you may not have, I don't know if you're a member of Cook University right now or not, but if you are, I just uploaded a painting. I think Laura just watched it it's in the section, what's it called, Lesson Library. And it's a video I did just from a couple, like last weekend I taught a workshop, and it was one of the demos that I did over the last couple weekends for these workshops that I was doing. And anyways, it is, the whole thing is one of those backwards paintings, and it was really fun, but it was really, like most people who watch it and were in the workshop, you know, like they don't see it coming. And the only reason I see it coming is because I am used to it now, and I've done it so many times. But you have to kind of anticipate it, and so like it. And I think that it's totally just because 98% of us never paint that way, and we don't see that way, and it's not the most natural thing in the world. So I like it, but it's doesn't mean that it's natural. I always kind of think that it's because I'm a little bit backwards myself, and I therefore it's my chosen way. But
that's good. That's great.
Oh, cool.
Trish says, is Jed using a medium to blend the colors in the sky?
No, I'm not. I'm not using a medium. I'm just trying to work kind of fast. And if I have it wet, I just try to blend right back into it before it dries. I don't really ever use a medium. It'd probably be really obvious if I was, because you'd probably see me pouring medium or something like that. But I don't really use medium.
No, he doesn't.
So this is what I was saying before. I'm just coming in. I'm just kind of like bringing in some of these highlights on this tree because I think it'll look a little bit better to have some lighter areas where it's getting hit by the sunlight. Trish, it was cool to see your painting, that you had received that. And Todd, you send us a picture of your painting. That'd be fun to see in your house or wherever you're putting it or holding it or something like that. That'd be really fun. Love to get a snapshot of that. So let's start bringing in some of the highlights here, some of these places that we've got. Like, it's kind of fun to connect these highlights behind these telephone poles. It'll help it feel like the sunlight's coming at this angle and highlighting everything. And then I think we can probably come into the actual telephone poles and maybe bring in a little bit more highlight too. I'm not sure. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, I think we can. So I don't know if any of you have heard this song. It's not a very good song. I'm not going to sing all of it at all. But I was driving down the road the other day and I was flipping through stations and I heard this rap song come on. And it was, I was like, is he saying what I really think he's saying? Because I was like, bored in the house, I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house, I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house, I'm in the house, bored. And it's this song all about coronavirus and being stuck in the house. And it's actually a really catchy song, but the rest of the song is like, there's a lot of bad stuff in it. So I'm not going to sing it or repeat it or anything like that. But it was a pretty funny song. Like the tune is really catchy and the refrain is really funny. That's kind of our life these days.
Bored in the house and then now it's bored. Bored in the house and then
And now we're getting this really bright highlight on these telephone poles set up against that cooler sky. So what we'll do now is I'm going to start coming through. I'm going to start doing little things to try to tie things in together. So I'm going to bring a little bit of cooler tones, like more bluish grays, down into this area, just a little bit. I need it to be darker, but hopefully some of these things will kind of, I don't want this to lose its warmth, but I want it to tie into the sky. So hopefully we can do that with some of these colors. Kind of push it back up. And then we've got also some really great kind of highlighted, there's a couple little puddles over here. I'm gonna see, I might be able to throw in a couple of them. And then we're gonna try to try to be wrapping up here pretty soon, but I need to go back up into the sky also. So why don't I grab a little bit of this color here, come in a little bit on this.
Trish says, Jed, are you going to do a cloud module in AU?
Yeah, we are. We are doing a cloud module. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not this next month, but we've had a couple people ask for it, and it's on our schedule for sure.
Vishal says, is it better to use a long handle brush?
Yeah, it is. In general, it's better because it's better to use a long handle brush. If you didn't know what I was saying yes to, it's the way that I'm painting, it doesn't matter that much because a lot of what I'm doing is I'm just standing over and I can't stand that far away. But the place that it's actually the most beneficial is if you're standing and you're looking at an easel, because you can kind of stand and have your arm out, and because and it's like less finicky work, it's bigger work like this in general when you have a long handle brush. So it's actually a more painterly way to use your brush. But if you don't have a longer handle, it's harder to paint that way. So that's why, in my opinion, it's a little bit better way to hold your brush. Sometimes, you might not be able to, or you might need to hold your brush down lower, and that's fine. But it's more of the way that I prefer to paint in general. Okay, now I'll take a look at that again later and see if there's anything more that needs to be done. But I need to get up into the sky and I need to start kind of working around again with some bigger brush strokes and just try to simplify the colors and make sure that they're working together.
Nancy, we did record last Friday's live. If you just click on our YouTube channel and scroll down, it's right under uploads. There's a playlist called live streams, and we're going to put all the Friday night lives in there so you can rewatch them as much as you want.
Unless we change our mind, and then you won't be able to watch them as much as you want. But they're going to be there for now. Just kind of joking, but kind of serious too.
Yeah, I got a fortune cookie the other day that said like, "Be prepared to change your plans," and we kind of laughed at that because we were like, "Well, that describes my everyday life."
Yeah, like every day. Plans? Plans. So that color is a little bit more purpley, but I think I kind of like it because there's a little bit more color. And I think it goes against the orangish color pretty well. You gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I'm going to need to do some transitioning to lighter colors and different stuff like that. So I'm going to try to use a smaller brush and do some of that rather quickly. So this is where acrylics, because they dry quickly, you have to think creatively. And there's different ways of doing stuff with large surfaces like this and trying to get variation in color and blending and stuff like this. But one of the things that you can do if you want is to try to, I don't think I'm going to do it right now, but I'm just telling you about it. You can actually take your spray bottle, if you have a spray bottle like this, and you can actually paint or spray some of the areas before you paint, before you put the paint down. That's the way that I prefer to do it, rather than spray on top. If you spray on top, it can be a little bit weird, but if you just missed it a little bit, you don't want to put on too much water or anything like that. You're not trying to make it totally saturated, but sometimes you just missed it a little bit. That moisture that's on the canvas, as you're going along, you're going to pick some of it up, and it's going to become it'll just help keep the paint, like the paint that you're putting down, it'll help just keep it moist for a little bit longer. It just gives you a little bit longer to mix and to do stuff that you would otherwise maybe not be able to do. Super fun little trick, kind of hard, is a little bit unpredictable because you still have to work fast, you still have to be kind of like really moving and stuff, but it does give you more time, and it's kind of cool to see. I don't know, just a different way of being able to go about it. Okay. I really like the feel of this. I really do. Such a cool painting, cool scene. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to compliment myself. I'm trying to say this is a cool scene. Painting remains to be determined. The scene, beautiful. Yeah, really, really, really cool. And let's come through, erase some of the funky areas, put, like when I say funky areas, I mean where that really bright orange is still kind of coming through unhindered. So again, I'm trying my best to see these colors and match them up from one side of the painting to the other, and get rid of extra oranges that don't really need to be there, that would be distracting. And keep the sense of light consistent through the whole thing. Warm light. And we've got this beautiful, beautiful sky with various colors of clouds, and I don't know, I really do like it. So we're getting pretty close now. From what I am seeing, I feel like we're kind of getting closer to being done with it, and feeling like, yeah, let me think, kind of like what we set out to do is getting, like Diana Shine said, I don't know if you heard her say, like once, she said something like, basically you're done with your painting when you've either run out of things to say or you've said what you wanted to say in the beginning. Like, and I feel like, you know, that's why you kind of want to have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish in the beginning, or else you don't always know if you got there or not. But sometimes you might just run out of stuff to say too. Like, and you might just be like, well, you know, I don't actually know what to do now. In this case, I feel like I'm getting close to where I'd say I've said what I wanted to say. I feel like the scene is so cool and so vibrant, you know, like I really just wanted to accomplish, you know, trying to capture a bit of the beauty of the scene. And I feel like it's gotten some of that in here. It's maybe not perfect. It might not have all the beauty of the scene, but that's kind of impossible for us as painters. Sometimes we come across stuff that's just too beautiful. It's just too crazy. It's too amazing in the real world. But our job is to try to retell the same story and to do it in the best way that we can, and to put our interpretation on it. And to say it also, my opinion is to try to say it in as simple and kind of as straightforward a way as possible. And I think that if we can do that, also that adds to the joy of it, in that it's just, we're not trying to be too crazy with it, or like tell too many things about it, but we're just trying to be as simple and as honest as we can. So I'm coming up to the very last brush strokes here, and we'll call it good. Thank you guys for being here with us. Peter, do you want to rush out there and get that other thing ready? Yeah, let's go for it. I'll switch this back. So Let's see here.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks guys. It was really fun to hang out and do this together. I hope that you had a good time, as good of a time as I did. It is fun to hang out on Friday nights together, and I hope that you had it. We'll come back next week. The other thing I did want to say is this: if you haven't texted that number, text that number. Be my friend. Let's hang out. But the other thing is this: we might do actually like what I was talking about with a coffee and canvas party. We're thinking about doing like a 2.5-hour lesson like that on a Saturday. If you'd be interested in that, it wouldn't be a freebie like this. You'd have to pay for it, but I'd actually get more into explaining what I'm doing and that kind of thing. And we're probably going to charge like $25 for it or something like that. But if you'd be interested in that, let us know that too. And we're working on the schedule of it. But anyways, love you guys. Have a really wonderful night, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.